Armin Meiwes was born on December 1st, 1961 in Germany, the third and youngest son of Detlef Meiwes. He had two half-siblings from his father's affair. With another woman. When he was 8 years old, his father left home. His mother had to raise him alone. According to the police, not having his father in his life was one of the most important events that affected his psychology. Armin said that he was very lonely after the breakup of his family. This loneliness alienated him from other people. This alienation would lead him to have different feelings and different desires, like cannibalism. Armin Meiwes worked as a computer technician. He seemed to have his life in order, but obsessive thoughts plagued him. Armin wanted to taste human flesh. He couldn't stop this sick desire. Through his research, Meiwes found a banned website called Cannibal Cafe. It was a secret forum for people like him who wanted to taste human flesh. Armin started a thread on the site, or rather an advertisement. He described himself as a master butcher. Here's what he wrote under the banner. "I'm looking for a young man of normal build, 18 to 25 years old, to slaughter and eat in Germany. Signed Master Butcher." He said he got more than one response to his ad. Most of them didn't answer, only 2. He withdrew, saying he was scared and couldn't do it. He even agreed with one and they met. But then he got scared and withdrew while they were at home. Meiwes said she couldn't do anything against his will. She said she couldn't do anything against his will and let him go, but he'll agree to be eaten alive. Bernd Brandes, an engineer from Berlin, answered the ad in March. He answered the ad in 2001. The two talked. Bernd had voluntarily allowed his limbs to be eaten. The police investigation confirmed this. Meiwes did it with Bernd's consent. Let's get to the day of the incident. The two met at Meiwes' house on March 9, 2001. They decided to videotape their actions so that they could watch them later. The police have this video, but it was never made public. Before the horrible incident, Brandes had taken 20 sleeping pills. While he was unconscious, Armin started cutting Brandes' limbs. First he tried to bite them off, but then he used a knife. When Brandes came to, he tried to eat his limbs raw, but he was bleeding. He was unconscious. It was impossible for him to eat them. Then things got even more horrible. Meiwes took the limbs and put them in a pan. He cooked them with salt, pepper, and garlic, but in his panic he burned them. Then he fed the burns to his dog. Brandes fainted from blood loss. Meiwes took her to the bathroom. He went in and continued reading his book. He checked on her at intervals. His condition was getting worse and worse, and Meiwes couldn't take it anymore. He ended Brandes' life with a knife. Then he hung his body on a meat hook. For the next 10 months, Meiwes ate Bernd's body. He cut it into pieces and ate it. He stored body parts in pizza boxes in his freezer, and he consumed close to 20 kilograms of meat. In December 2002, Meiwes placed another ad. This one was answered by a police officer. That's why he was arrested. The police were suspicious of his behavior. They were sure he had probably done this before. His house was searched and the horror unfolded. Investigators found body parts and a videotape of the murder. As I said, this tape was never made public. It was watched by the authoritarian side. It is still in the archives of the German police. On January 30th, 2004, Meiwes was found guilty of murder and sentenced to 8 years and 6 months in prison. Armin's most striking characteristic was that he was extremely polite. He was a man of style who knew how to speak. At first, the court did not believe he was capable of such a crime. In April 2005, it was decided to retry Armin. They said his sentence should be more severe. They argued that the videotape had revealed the terrible face of this murder. A psychologist told the retrial that Meiwes still had fantasies about human flesh and might reoffend. Meiwes denied these allegations. However, he was still sentenced to life imprisonment on May 10, 2006. In October 2007, he assisted police in cannibal murders in 1998 and 2000, both of which were solved. He still gives various interviews. He is also trying to help the police. Every journalist who interviews him says one thing: he is very polite, and they don't want to believe that he is a criminal. These interviews have revealed even more interesting aspects of the case. Armin says he never wanted to kill Brandes. He said he tried to eat her whole body after she died because he wanted to keep her alive inside him. He also said that Brandes enjoyed sitting in the bathtub covered in blood. Because of his good behavior, he is allowed to go out a few times a year in disguise and accompanied by police. The reason for his disguise is that almost the entire German population knows him. According to Armin Meiwes, what he did was done with the consent of 2 people. The action was to feed the other person to himself and the other wanted to eat. But that doesn't change the fact that he was a murderer. Modern cannibalism is an act that we see in people with extreme psychological disorders, such as serial killers, and one of the desires of these people is to have complete dominance over the other person.